Hi guys, today we're going to be doing the complete history of Reverse Flash. So let's get straight into it. Our story starts in the year 2071 in the 25th century, where Eobard was a scientist who idolized the superhero known as the Flash. And we don't know how exactly this happened, but eventually at some point between 2071 and 2091, Eobard gave himself speed by building a chamber that allowed him to directly tap into the Speed Force because he wanted to be a superhero like the Flash. But he wanted people to know he was different, so he painted his suit yellow. Eventually, Eobard was ready to show off his control of the Speed Force and the new Flash to a crowd of people. But the Flash then charged in to save the crowd from a random villain. We don't know who, but this drove Eobard crazy, as he was supposed to be the person to save the crowd. That was the crowd he was meant to save, not the Flash. So Thawne was broken by this and sweared to destroy the Flash and be better than he ever could. And around this time, Eobard accidentally traveled into the future and learned he was destined to become the Reverse Flash, Flash's greatest enemy. And this revelation, combined with everything he had suffered these past days, broke Eobard and convinced him to become the Flash's enemy and spend the rest of his life making the Flash miserable. And around this time, shortly after becoming the Reverse Flash, Thawne wanted a way to travel through the timeline undetected to ruin the Flash's life. But the only way he could do that without the Speed Force sensing was to create his own. So Thawne created the negative Speed Force, which was fueled by hateful emotions, and he used his hatred of the Flash to fuel it, allowing him to travel through the timeline completely undetected by anything that any speedsters or the Speed Force. But the more Thawne used it, the more his hate was fueled. Eventually, the Reverse Flash was stranded in the year 2016 and needed to get back home. And he did confirm that the Flash did still exist in this timeline, so he blackmailed the scientist Tina McGee into building him a device with tachyons, but his plan was foiled and the Flash stopped him. The Flash imprisoned him, and in his cell, Thawne learned some things about, especially that he would die at this point in time, and that he did a lot of things to the Flash. Several of the Flash's allies had interactions with Thawne, like Cisco, who said that Thawne would eventually teach him how to control his powers and lock him up, and that intrigued him. He also met Barry, the Flash, but he did not know Barry was the Flash yet, and Barry just asked why he hated him, and Thawne told him. Eventually, the Team Flash was forced to send Thawne home because it creates a rupture in the timeline if they just keep him here.